Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit about what happened yesterday, as well as looking forward. We got a monster 15 MLB slate on deck. It's going to be a good one. Every day I issue out my tweet. I say, hey, who will be tonight's the gang stack of tonight's 6-game MLB slate? And the options that I had out there were pretty much chalky. I had the Dodgers, the White Sox, the Yankees, and the Nationals, and overwhelmingly, the Dodgers were everybody's favorite, and we saw a lot of ownership on the Dodgers. Now, this particular vote got 110 votes, so that was pretty good. We had a lot of participation. Shout out to everybody who participates on the daily tweet that I send out. We saw in second was the Nationals. Close to that was the Yankees, and then the Chicago White Sox were at 20%. Didn't see an awesome performance from the Dodgers. Kind of decent one towards the end of the game for the White Sox. Yanks didn't really hit it up too well towards the top of the order, that is. And the Nats, man. The Nats, they made a late rally against the Cubs, man, but just couldn't get it done at the top of their order. Just couldn't get it done. So, this is what we do, man. This is how I gauge the temperature around the DFS world, see what everybody else is talking about, because you've got to know what the other guys have in their hand if you want to know how to play your hand. Checking out tonight. Not extremely profitable for me tonight. Invested about 61, currently getting back 48. I've still got some games in progress. Hopefully I can get that up some. One of the worst nights I've had in quite some time, man. I'm talking in 3 weeks, man. This is one of the worst nights I've had. Not turning a profit. It's all good, man. I've got my single entries already ready for tomorrow. Cleveland and Texas, bro. They stole the money. They got it in. So taking a look, man. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna be opening up some lineups here, and we've got, like I said, we got 15 games tomorrow. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice. I love the larger slates, man, because you can really separate yourself. We got at 7:05 the first pitch is going out. We got 15 games there. We got a 2-game turbo at 8:10, a 5-game night slate at 9:40. Then we got 4 late games, and when it comes to the late games, man, you can get guys at incredibly low ownership. And I want you to know, these larger slates, it's not about individual ownership. What it's about here, it is about stack ownership. Now, my very best lineup tonight had the Cleveland Indians in it, and the lowest owned guy in my Cleveland Indian stack will tell you how many other people are stacking Cleveland. And I had a guy that was at 3% owned. The same thing with Texas. Nomar Mazara was 2% owned. So that tells me that 2% of people that played in that tournament probably, or maybe even less than 2%, at the max, 2% had a stack with Mazara in it. I'm talking about Elvis Andrus, who's 5% owned. So let's just say that guys stacked the team with Andrus in it. At the very most, that was a 5% owned stack. So everybody else was on the chalk, the other plays. And that lineup, those two lineups, the Indian stack and the Texas stack, were what really got me back most of my buy-in. So that was very solid. I'm glad about that. Taking a look here, and those lineups were built inside the line drive at 5. And if you want to get in on that and join us in the sweatshop in the line drive at 5, it's an awesome show. I do it just about every day. You can go to the website at www.dfssweatshop.com, and you can get in there and we can build those lineups together, man. We do it in there. We do it. So we've got a very solid pitcher slate at the top. Most of you are going to love some of the top options that we do have, but me, I'm finding myself a lot more towards the middle. Ever since I stopped paying up for pitching, I just stopped paying up for pitching, bro. I've done so much better. I just don't want to pay up for pitching. You have to twist my arm to pay more than 10K for a guy. I just hate doing it, because as I often state, I would much rather. Oh, Casey Matthews. Oh, K Sizzle just hit me up. Asked me if I want to do the CFL show tomorrow. You damn right. I'm doing the you damn right. I will call after I finish this show tomorrow night. I'm gonna hit you up and we can do KC Matthews. If you don't know, at KSizzle7 on Twitter. This dude is a CFL mastermind. I talked to him for about 20 minutes before we started the show that we did the other night, and I felt like I had been watching CFL for 10 years. I mean, dude is a CFL beast. Like, he knows it. He knows that shit, bro. I mean, he knows it. From storylines to the actual players to the games, like all of it. And I'm going to bring him live and direct to you tomorrow night, man. We're going to chop that up and really get into that so we get some of the CFL money as well. But talking about the pitching for today, yo, we got Scherzer slate, Carmart, Severino, Paxton, Straley, Verlander, Hoffman, Quintana. So, you know, I think there's a lot of bob and weave type pitchers on the slate. Guys who, you know, I don't have to play. I don't have to play. I think other people are going to be on them and going to want to play them a lot. I'm going to let them do that and kind of jack up their bats. I would much rather start my MLB night with bats that I want and pitchers I can afford, rather than pitchers that everybody else wants and bats that I can only afford because I paid up so much for pitching. The bats have way more opportunity than the pitchers do. On most slates, if I got two pitchers that neither one of them are going to give me negative points, I'm going cash. We know enough about the bats to cash because we are who we are. We do what we do, right? So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We're going to be working, of course, from RotoQL. Shout out to RotoQL. In terms of layout, in terms of optimization features, in terms of, you know, the overall template that they use, this is one of the best sites in the game, man. So go ahead, join them. I'm probably gonna drop a link to the description in this video where you can go ahead and get your RotoQL on if you like, man. And they owe me some money for me doing this. They should give me some money. Somebody tell somebody from RotoQL to hit me up with a couple of dollars for marketing and advertising people the way I do. But it's an exceptional site, man. I love it, and I chop it up using RotoQL just about every day. So let's go ahead, take a quick look. We're also going to talk about park factors because I want you all to be so in tune with where teams play and the conditions surrounding the games that you can say, oh man, Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is this kind of park. I like this guy because that does matter. It does matter. So first game we got on the slate is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now here in the first class, what we are doing, we are really trying to get a read on our pitching, okay? Now we really want to hammer down our pitching because people are going to make shows, and I say this all the time, they're going to make shows tonight or last night, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I like this guy, batter, and you don't know shit. You don't know who you like because you don't even know who the batting orders are. They're trying to take you off of a stack approach by just throwing out random names at you. You know what I mean? I want you to think in terms of stacks. Forget individual ownership. Think stack ownership. That's what I want you to think. How many people are going to stack the Rays tonight? How many people are going to stack the Pirates today? And build your rosters according to your stack ownership, okay? Now, like I said, the first game is the Rays and the Pirates. We got Alex Cobb at 7.8. We've also got Trevor Williams at 5.1, heavily discounted here. 0% chance of rain in PNC Park, 6 mile per hour wind. And we go and check out PNC Park in the park factors. We can take a look here and see how this park grades out, okay? Now, okay. PNC Park produced 93 runs for every 100 runs, and they produced 78 home runs for every 100 homers. Now, that is in terms of what the average park does. So this is going to make PNC Park an extreme pitcher's park. Okay, now think about that in terms of your roster builds. So that means I want you to pay attention a little bit to the pitchers in this spot. You got Alex Cobb, 7.8, Trevor Williams, 5.1. Looking at Alex Cobb, let's take a look at what he does away and on the road. Away and home. Away 10.4, -10 away against Seattle, 15 against Minnesota, 22 against Cleveland, 18 against Boston, 17, 7.5. So he's a pretty rocky guy on the road, right? Not a guy that you can like really trust and get behind on the road. So, you know, and plus you look at what the Pittsburgh Pirates do. They're a pretty decent squad, man. Let's just take a look at them over the last 14 days. I don't think they strike out a ton. I think they're fairly disciplined at the plate here. 27th in the league in K rate at 17.8%. 170 is the ISO with a 305 WOBA. Now the ISO is just above league standard. The WOBA leaves a little bit to be desired. I think that, you know, Cobb could be, for the simple fact that this is going to be a pitcher's park, and he's got a very solid option for run support. We know that the Tampa Bay Rays are a team that definitely can support their pitcher in terms of runs. I think I'm going to take a closer look here at Alex Cobb. Trevor Williams, at 5.1. Not a guy on the first glance I think that I can get behind. 16, 7.65 at home. Not a great. 0.8 at home. 13, 3. So he's not had very good starts at home. He really hasn't had very good starts at home in Pittsburgh. So I think I can take a chance with attacking Trevor Williams with a few of those lefty power bats from Tampa Bay. I'm gonna grab a hold to Alex Cobb and take a look at him later on. And we're gonna set those lineups inside the line drive. Next game we got the Chicago Cubs and the Washington Nationals. We got Jake Arrieta and Max Scherzer. Now, just because both of these teams are rolling out what they probably feel is their best pitcher, the ace style pitcher on the slate. We got Arrieta at 7.5. You're going to get that discount from him going to Washington and playing the Nationals. And I just hate playing pitchers against the Nationals, man. They can explode for double-digit runs like at any given time. And then you've got Max Scherzer at 13K against a very capable order in the Chicago Cubs. Looking at the park factors, this is a fairly neutral park. Like, it's not hard to hit home runs here. Like, this is a fairly neutral park. I think it's yeah, right around middle of the pack. Minus 98. That means 100 runs produced for every 100 produced around the league. 95 home runs for every 100 homers produced around the league. So it's pretty much a neutral playing site. And you got Arrieta and Scherzer. I think Scherzer is going to be playable. Will I pay up for him? Probably on 1 or 2 lineups. I'm not going to have a ton of Scherzer. I can tell you that. And there's going to be no Arrieta for me because I just cannot play a pitcher against the Nationals at home. Because I think in a neutral park, the tie is going to go to the talent. And this Washington Nationals rosters is just clearly more talented than the Chicago side. Excuse me. We did see Addison Russell struggle with an injury, so he may not be in the lineup. That could get you some cheaper stuff here for the Chicago Cubs. Not a lot that I want to do against Max Scherzer, man. Taking a look at him in his last few starts, Scherzer has been good. Scherzer has been very good in his last few starts. Let's make sure we are still connected. Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, Scherzer has been very good in his last few starts. We're going to take a look here. Come on, baby. 39, 35, 30, 44, 43, 43. I mean, the dude has been lights out. He's been lights out recently. So I definitely can see, Scherzer making it in some lineups without question. Next game, we got the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. We got Kevin Guzman at 6.3 and Joe Biagini at 5.8. I can tell you, I've never liked Biagini. I never liked Biagini. But, everybody has their best game of the season, pitcher-wise, against the Baltimore Orioles. This is a squad, man. They strike out with the best of them. They're here 5th in the league in K rate, 24.3%, 199 ISO, which is pretty decent, a 351 WOBA, pretty good over the last few starts. But this is a team that just strikes out a ton, man. They really do. And Joe Biagini at 5.8 is kind of a solid price on him. He did have a negative 15.15 against Chicago White Sox. But aside from that, fairly solid. 13, 15, 22, 18. 18 here against Seattle, 15 in his first start. He's a guy nobody's really going to want to play. I think he is going to make consideration for me. If I'm trying to pay up, for Scherzer in the lineup, I think Biagini is a guy that I could get in there. I really do, because I will attack this squad. But don't get me wrong, I still think that there is merit to having some Orioles bats here in the spot. As you can see, the Blue Jays are going to be heavily favored in this matchup, negative 160 to 144 plus. Then on the other side, you got Guzman, who is most certainly an early Shelley candidate. Dude is bad. 19-9, negative 14, 11, 12, 10, 12, negative 3. You can definitely play some of those Toronto bats against them without any issue. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Next game we got is going to be the Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox. We got Hector Santiago at 4.6 and Drew Pomeranz at 7.2. Both lefties in this matchup. As we know, the Boston Red Sox in terms of, Fenway Park, in terms of park factors, this is going to be, pretty much a neutral park because, it produces 111 runs for every 100 runs, but only 90 home runs for every 100 home runs in association with parks around the league. So I definitely think you could take a look at a guy like Drew Pomeranz in the spot at 7.2. He's going to be somebody who nobody's going to want to play. But he's been fairly consistent, man. Aside from that negative 2.25 start against Detroit, 32, 29, 22, 16, 16. I think he can be in a good spot against this order. So he's going to see some right-handed power here. Don't get me wrong. It is somewhat of a stretch, but I think at 7.2 at home, I think I can get behind Pomeranz here. No Santiago for me. Next game we got is going to be the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. We got Junior Guerrera and Tim Adelman on the mound. Both pitchers are priced down. That is a precursor to how good both of these squads can hit. I think you're going to see a decent amount of runs in this spot. They're in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Taking a look at the park factors here. This is the third friendliest park. This is the third friendliest park. This is Extreme Hitters Park, bro. This means that, American Ballpark produced 104 runs for every 100 runs. But this is the kicker. 130 home runs for every 100 homers. So this is definitely a park for hitters, man, and that's the reason why I love the bats in this spot. I'm gonna be all over the place in terms of this is right now can be a game stack, so to speak. But we're gonna talk more about that in the line drive at 5, of course. Next game we got the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Indians. You got Tyson Ross here and Mike Clevenger. This game meets the same thing. We check out the park factors in Cleveland. And, Progressive Field, plus 100. It's a very neutral park. But both of these pitchers in the spot are just plain not great. You got Tyson Ross here, -8 in his last start against Toronto, 19 against Seattle. You've also got Mike Clevenger, a guy who I had championed a couple of starts early during the season. But this is a guy who's not been producing very well lately. 12, 13, 6.8, 18, 9. I mean, never really killed you and got negative points. But against the Texas Rangers, man, they can hit. And a righty with all that lefty power, I can't play Ross or Clevenger in the spot. I would be looking to game stack this one again. Next game we got is the Kansas City Royals and the Detroit Tigers. We got Matt Strahm at 4.9 and Justin Verlander at 8.4. Now Strahm here, 4.9, had negative 0.05 against Boston, 18 against the Angels. Not a guy that I think I'm going to play against Detroit, but I do like Verlander in the spot at 8.4. I think Verlander is a guy that you can get behind. You look at the last couple of starts, 25, 17. Think he's figured something out. I kind of like him. I can rock with him. Take a look at the park factor here in Detroit. We're going to open it up. I believe, yeah, this is another one that's, a fairly neutral park. You see 103 runs for every 100. You see 96 home runs for every 100. Fairly neutral park, and that's when talent comes into play. And I just think that, the Detroit batters are more talented than the Kansas City pitching in the spot. So I think we can rock there, which will put them in line for the win, which will put Verlander in line for the win as well. Next game, we got the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins. We got Robert Gesselman and Dan Straley in the spot. Now, the Mets do hit a lot better away from home, but we're going to take a look at the park factor here in Miami and see exactly where this hits. Now, this is a Extreme Pitchers Park here. For every 100 runs, it's 100, so it's pretty set on. But only 72 home runs for every 100 home runs around with parks around the league. So in terms of jacks, you're gonna get around the league. If the league hits 100 jacks, only 72 of them are gonna be hit in Miami. And for that reason, I think I like Dan Straley in the spot. He is a right-hander, going to be seeing a top-heavy lineup full of lefties. So we're going to monitor that throughout the day. I definitely don't want anything to do with Robert Gesselman. I think this could be a place where I can grab a hold to some of those Miami bats in the spot. I do think Dan Straley is considerable for the slate. The next game we got is my New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox. You got Jose Quintana at 7.9 and Luis Severino at 10.1. Yo, Severino, man, has underwhelmed, for lack of a better term, man. 7, 12, 31, 20, 27, 33, 18, -2. Like, his last couple starts, man, have not been very good. And he's facing a very scrappy team in the White Sox. The one thing that they're going to have going for them, or he's going to have going for him, Exactly. Jeremy Ladd says he likes Straley because the Mets are an all or nothing offense. I definitely get that. I agree 100%. You've got Severino here, going to be seeing a ton of righty power in the spot, and I think he does really well. He does really well against right-handed batters, so that's going to be something to monitor as well. And if you see the upside in him, the K upside, that could be a very worthy uh, uh, pivot from the top from guys like Carlos Martinez and or Scherzer. So you got Quintana at 7.9. Really don't want to play a pitcher, especially a left-handed pitcher against my New York Yankees. Those guys can mash lefties. Really don't want to go there. So I'm gonna highlight Severino in this spot. Next game we got is the Oakland Athletics and the Houston Astros. Love to attack Oakland away from home, and I think that Mike Fiers at 7.6, who has had a couple of decent starts recently, 2017, 33.5, 14, 24. I think Fiers can be in play because I think he's going to be in line to get the win. They're in Houston in Minute Maid Park. Let's take a look at the park factor to see exactly where this park sits in terms of. Now here we go. This is a hitter's park. This means that in the past few years, 99 runs for every 100 runs and 112 home runs for every 100 home runs. So this is a plus 105 in favor of hitters. But Oakland is so bad away from home. Manaea murders my Astros coming from Brett Banker. And for that matter, this could be a situation where we could like both pitchers. So sort of an either or, you look at Manaea in his last 6 starts, 18, 11, 20, 23, 33, 32. That's pretty solid, man. But the fact that he is going to see a lot of righty power in the spot is going to have me really thinking about grabbing some of those Houston guys. But I think Mike Fiers at 7.6, Manaea 6.2. Both guys are guys that we can consider. But more so for me, Mike Fiers. Next game we got the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got Carlos Martinez. Now, if Carlos Martinez was playing the lineup that we saw yesterday, I may be in on some Martinez, but Goldie's going to be back in there. We're probably going to have Peralta and all those guys that sat out yesterday. We should have those guys back. So I don't think I'm going to be in on Martinez at all. 11.3. Nah, I'm cool on that. I'm not playing. Yeah, I'm not playing Carmart. Taijuan Walker at 7.3. I will get some Matt Carpenter if he's in the lineup. I think Tommy Pham is swinging a hot stick right now, a guy that you can look at. But we will take a closer look when the lineups come out in the line drive at 5. Astros don't K, and they're back home. That's coming from Jeremy Ladd. Yeah, I just can't play Carmart in the spot. No Taijuan Walker for me, actually. I would trust the bats in the spot, especially on the Arizona side. You get a day of rest for Goldie. I think he comes in, smashes the jack, and does pretty well. I'm all in on that. Next game we got is the LA Dodgers and the Los Angeles Angels. We got Kenta Maeda at 7.7, a guy that I can get behind. He's had a couple tough starts so far this year, man, but pretty much evened out, man. 20, 15, 2.8, 11, 25, 21, 28. Pretty solid, pretty decent. And I think against the Angels, man, I can definitely give him a shot. Okay, I can definitely give him a shot for that. I like that. Jesse Chavez had a good one last time against my Yankees. No, he didn't. He got knocked around. He got knocked around. That was the other guy. No, Lasco had a good night tonight. Wasn't that crazy? So you got I can't play Chavez. I don't like Chavez. I never play him. I'm not playing Chavez. No. But I think Maeda's in play at 7.7. I like that. And see, there's already a couple of pitchers in the mid-level that I like that will get me any bat I want. I'm not paying up consistently. I'm not going to consistently pay up for Scherzer or the other guys. I'm not. Because I see pitchers on the mid that I like. I'm not just like dumpster diving. Like I actually see pitchers in the mid-level that I do like. Then you got Sean Newcomb here at 6.7. Julius Chassin. We take a look at what goes on, man. Yo, the Padres are still the Padres, bro. 25.1% K rate. The 197 ISO is down because it was above 200. 317 WOBA. Give me some Sean Newcomb. I'm cool with that. I think the last start he had was bad, and people did not want to play him. Well, 15 and then 8. First start at 24 against the Mets. People are not going to want to play him, so I do like Newcomb in the spot. The one guy that scares me, and I will have some hedge life associated, is going to be Hunter Renfroe. That dude smashes lefties. He smashes lefties. And, of course, the Padres do hit a lot better at home. Better at home than on the road. But I like Sean Newcomb in the spot. And Julius Chassin, 6.8. Not a big fan there. I will have some exposure to the Atlanta Bats in this spot. Next game we got is the Philadelphia Phillies and the Seattle Mariners. We got Aaron Nola and James Paxton, man. Paxton, I just stopped playing him. You know, I stopped playing Paxton because he just didn't seem to be all there physically. You know what I mean? So I stopped playing him. Might take a shot on him today because we know what the Philadelphia Phillies do away from their home park. They're just not a great team hitting on the road. 22.7% K rate, one of the lowest ISOs in the league at 119. Also a sub 300 WOBA here, so I definitely think that put Paxton in play. Hopefully he shook off any injury concerns that he did have. I will be taking a shot here at Paxton, and that even puts Aaron Nola to me in consideration because this guy is really good. Nola is really good. 30 last time out against St. Louis, 8, 13, 28. Has been fairly solid. If I had to pick a pitcher in this game, I would pick the pitcher that's most in line for the win, who I think is Paxton. But I think Nola deserves consideration. If you wanted to rock on some contrarian types stack shit, I think you can rock with Nola. But I'm going to be choosing Paxton in the spot. The last game on this, let's go back to the park factors for Seattle as well. I'm sorry about that. See where they sit. Seattle. Safeco is an extreme pitcher's park. 84 runs for every 100 and 86 home runs for every 100 homers. So this is definitely a pitcher's paradise park that you can definitely rock with, which is going to be the same for San Francisco. Colorado at San Francisco is the last game on the slate. As you can see, look at the park factor. When you stroll all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see AT&T Park, man. An extreme pitcher's park. Okay, 84 runs for every 100 runs and 67 homers for every 100 homers. So this is an extreme pitcher's park here in San Francisco. So I always look to the pitching in San Francisco, always. And I think Jeff Hoffman can be a popular play, a guy that I'm going to like at 8.1. I can get behind him. There's going to be no Matt Cain for me. So we've already got our pitching pretty much, played out for today's slate. Meet us in the line drive at 5 where we can work it all out. This is how I'm rocking, man. You're going to see, I'm going to highlight Scherzer, but you're going to see very little Scherzer in my 10 lines. I may have him in 1 or 2. Severino's the same thing. I'm going to have my exposure more or less around guys like Paxton, Straley, Verlander, Hoffman, maybe some Alex Cobb, Maeda, Mike Fiers, and Sean Newcomb, Drew Pomerantz. That's where I'm going to be. And I'm going to narrow my pitching slate, my pitching pool down to about 4 guys, 5 max on a 15-game slate. 4 guys, 5 max. And I will share those guys with you in the line drive at 5 as well as my top 4 stacks and my other head stacks. So, yo, check us out. Go to the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. That's where you can get all of the exclusive in-depth shit that we do behind the wall. And remember, man, it's streaks and slumps. The best teams have the longer streaks and the shorter slumps. All right? So this has been your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Remember, if you're on FanDuel, keep it 250. If you're on DraftKings, keep it 200. And if you're in the sweatshop, keep it 300. We out.